concept of the soul friend, Anam Cara. And it really is expansive because, as I read, the Celts didn't see any separation between themselves as individuals and anything else in life, including nature, divinity, every animal, every tree, every plant. And all of that was God and an experience of God. An experience of God just out in the world, and that rising in the morning gave us an opportunity to be in praise of all of that beauty and glory, and that it was a gift to be able to open your eyes at the beginning of the day and to have the possibility of the experience of beauty in life. And every single relationship was that connection. Every single relationship. There was no separation between you and family members, no separation between friends, and that friends and your loved ones are actually people that we go to, and they are where we find ourselves, where we can see ourselves, where we can mirror for each other who and what we are as beautiful expressions of God. And that was the basis of their living. A friendship, any relationship should be a soft place to fall. A soft place to fall. What if every relationship you had was like that? Which means we ourselves have to be soft places to fall. We have to be soft places to fall. And we need to be that living expression of that Anam Cara. That we are walking the path of life, knowing that we are not just a part of it, that we are that life. Because once you say that you're a part of something, you are still separated from it. So you are that life. We've talked about it before. It's not just this. It's not just an intersection. It's not just an intertwining. There is no difference between you and the next person beside you, physically beside you. That we live within each other, as each other. If we could aspire to that, how would we change the world? How could you change your world? That whenever you walked upon the earth, when you stepped outside in the morning, that every single step you knew was on holy ground. Every single step was holy ground. That everything was beautiful. Every rock, every pebble, every blade of grass, every flower, every weed. All the stuff we stomp and sweep away. Not thinking about the fact that they are living things, living, breathing things. Plants live and breathe. That's why I love that song by Stevie Wonder, The Secret Life of Plants, because we don't think about it most of the time. We need to pull weeds. We need to cut, prune. I have a friend who lives out in Sherman. A lot of times she's burning. She has a burn barrel. She's always throwing stuff in there to burn. Because we're trying to keep control of nature. As if that were possible. as if that were possible. Mother Nature is her own force. And we are a part of her, and she is a part of us. We have no life without her, and we forget that throughout the day. We forget that that too is a part of the divinity of life. It's a part of the divine, and all of God is in and through that, as it is in and through us. I was at a wellness center yesterday for an open house, and we talked about health and well-being, but most of what we talked about was trying to get back to assisting the body to do its best work. And that there's a fight. It has been for a while. It may continue, and I think perhaps it's getting to a fever pitch, where there are modalities and herbs and all kinds of things in nature to help us assist our bodies to heal and to grow and to be at our peak performance. But we've gotten so separated from nature that our bodies are starting to feel it in a pretty horrible way. I mentioned several weeks ago that had started earthing, stepping outside in my backyard and put my feet in the grass for 30 minutes. And my goal is to do it every day. And yet I don't always do it every single day because some days I just think I don't have time. And yet my body is calling for it because my body wants to sync with the earth. And as soon as I step out in the grass in my bare feet, something is happening. The earth is connecting with me, and I'm connecting with the earth. And there's an exchange of energy that my body loves and vibrates with. And yet some days I think I don't have time. It's like plugging in electronics and plugging them into the wall and having that energy flow. This natural world is so vast and so beautiful. And in our haste, we forget about it. We forget how beautiful it is. I have 2 huge crepe myrtles out in my front yard. And I love right now, one's pink and the other one's fuchsia. And of course, there's no grass growing beneath them. But now I have a blanket of pink and fuchsia petals all over the ground in my front yard. And I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And I've had to tell the gentleman who cuts my lawn, don't blow away my petals. Because he just wants to clean them up and blast them with that blower. But I love seeing those petals on the ground. And they fall on the car when I park out front. And I love when I start to drive and the pink just kind of starts flying around in the air. But in those moments when I'm watching those petals fly around off my windshield, I have a moment of bliss and a reminder of how beautiful the world is and my part in it. And my part in it. I come from a long line of women on my mother's side who loved plants. There's always room for another plant in the house. Always. Doesn't matter how many you have, we can have more. My grandmother loved African violets. I've never been able to grow an African violet. I don't know, that must have skipped a couple of generations. My mother had some beautiful African violets in her kitchen window. I can grow most anything else, but African violets have escaped me. But there's something about sitting in my house and seeing the greenery and letting that wash over me and taking time to think about them and how I have a symbiotic relationship with those plants. They're not just decoration. We're breathing with each other. We are breathing with each other. They're giving me oxygen, I'm giving them carbon dioxide. And we're doing this dance throughout life. I remember my mother saying to me once, there are no house plants. There are just plants that we decided to bring in the house. There are no original house plants. We did that. Just like we domesticated animals, we domesticated some plants and brought them in. And I probably talked to my plants like I talked to my pets when I had some. And some of them have names. Some of my plants have names. But they make me stop and breathe in and remember that there's so much more to life than the busyness that we get lost in. That there's a relationship with nature. I was reading a couple of days about forest bathing, something that started in Japan. Do you know now that the Forestry Service is now training certified guides for forest bathing in this country? Their goal is to have 1,000 of them in the next couple of years. Because they recognize that our bodies respond to being out in the forest, to being with nature. Not only to seeing it, breathing it in, the smell of the soil, the smell of the bark. And what do? We drive by, we walk by, we don't think about it. Because we're so busy doing life, or what we think is life, what we call life. And our bodies, our minds, our souls, and our hearts are suffering because we have forgotten where we come from and what we are, that we are natural beings. We are part of this natural life. We are part of this natural life. And that God is in that natural life. God is that natural life. And it created us as a part of that. Genesis starts with the story of Adam and Eve in the garden. In the garden. Which symbolizes, in metaphysics, man's consciousness, all that we have. The lifeblood of who and what we are. We were given Eden. We are Eden. We are Eden. We are a part of that natural beingness. And so we're called to look for God, not just in everyone, but in everything. To slow down, open our eyes, not just the physical eyes, but the metaphysical eyes, the spiritual eyes, the emotional eyes, and take it in and breathe it in. And to let that be the power that fuels us. To give thanks for it, to have reverence for it, to have reverence for yourself as a part of the natural world. How often do we have reverence for ourselves? To think that you are holy and sacred. To believe, not just think, to believe and know that you are holy and sacred. and a part of the beauty of the universe. Just as beautiful as my crepe myrtle trees. Just as vast and wonderful as a redwood. As the sea itself and everything in it. That your light is more luminous than any star. That you are more vast, your consciousness is more vast than any galaxy. That's where I believe we're called to find ourselves in that. Our vision of ourselves is contracted. It's abbreviated. Because we look at this in the mirror and we think this is all there is. Sometimes I stop and think of all the trillions of things that are going on within this body in any given second. Trillions of processes are happening. These beautiful, impeccable bodies. They are symphonies of activity. And yet we think we're something else. So much less. So much less. We don't appreciate ourselves. And because we don't appreciate ourselves, we fail or don't have the energy to appreciate others. Our work in this world is to know ourselves as God beings. To know yourself as a God being. To know yourself as a God being. And it is hard to wrap your head around it, because I try every single morning in my meditation times. One of the first things I say to myself is that I am a unique expression of the divine. And I try to picture my body as a divine manifestation. And I think about my life and what it is I'm going to do that day, and how do I bring my divinity, how do I unleash my divinity upon every single thing that I think, say, or do that day. And most of the time I do really well during meditation. And then my day starts. And it's surprising how fast it can fall away. In fact, it can fall away as soon as I stand up and stub my toe on the chair. But it's all a process. If we'll start, and we'll spend some time each day, even if it's just for 30 seconds, reminding yourself who you are. And you do that as often as you remember to do it. That at some point, it stays. And at some point, you'll realize, oh, this is a little better than it was 6 months ago, a year ago. Maybe it's better than 5 years ago. Maybe it's better than 5 hours ago. That's why we practice our principles, because it's in the living, it's in the practice that things start to build for us. And your threshold of joy and freedom, as Pete read about, joy and freedom, that you have more of that and you experience that and you know your life is that. And that threshold just gets higher and higher. And then when stuff happens They're not as catastrophic. They're not as difficult. You're not thrown as far. You rebound more quickly. So I can get up out of my meditation, stub my toe, go, ugh. And then in the next moment, take a deep breath and be okay. Rather than letting the stub toe be my entire day. Because I've done that. That the first thing that sets you off becomes your disposition for the day. And then before you know it, somebody's asking you how you're doing, and you're like, oh, not today. I'm not peopling, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. I'm fed up. I just want the day to be over. Isn't it Friday yet? I hate Mondays. Only 2 more days to work. You're already wishing away the beauty of the world, the beauty of life. You're already wishing it away. So I try not ever to say, gosh, when does Friday coming? Not that Friday ends my week, but whatever it is, that day before you're off for a day or 2 or for a couple of hours, stop wishing away. Life is too short. Life is too precious. Life is too beautiful. You are too beautiful and precious and magnificent to wish that you could rush through this. Because within all this stuff that we keep wishing away, there's something, some gift for you in those moments. There's some gift waiting for you. And while you're wishing it away, you could be experiencing some bliss, some comfort, some peace, some moment of recognition where you go, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Listen to my child's voice. Listen to the laughter in the backyard. Listen to that music. Listen to that song. Listen to the birds outside my window. Listen to the sound of my loved one in the other room. Instead of rushing through your morning routine, stand in the shower and let the water just hit your scalp and luxuriate in that. Let yourself have what we call mundane moments. Let them all be holy and wonderful. Let ourselves stop for a minute sometimes and just take it in. Even if you're in a moment of pain, let yourself take it in. Because that too is life. That too is valuable. That too is a signal that you're alive and that there's something happening in there for you to pay attention. There may be a transition happening. There may be a change happening. There may be something for you to pull out as a gift. Something else for you to learn about yourself. To know about yourself as a unique expression of the divine in that moment. Even if it's just to affirm that you are whole, perfect, and complete. And that I have everything within me to heal my mind, body, and soul. And that the Creator gave us everything. Everything. Man, life can change on a dime. And many of you know that in this room. Many of you know that. A diagnosis, a health crisis. Somebody dies suddenly or slowly. Because in each moment, as they're transitioning, there's a different level of transitioning happening, a different level of dying happening. And something's happening within us. And yet in some of those moments, those tough moments, we want them to go away. But in that can be the beauty of the divine if we'll open our eyes and open our hearts. And sometimes you're going to have to ask, what do you want me to see? What is there to see in this moment? What is there to be in this moment? Because there always is something. Even if it's just to be with yourself and to know that God is with you, as you, in that moment. And that you have nothing to fear, nothing to worry about. That you are held and supported. Because as soon as we open our eyes and our hearts and you can feel the support, you know the support is there. And we breathe into it. That's what Anam Cara is. It's knowing that all of life is divine and that everything that's happening and everything that's there in that moment is beautiful and it is a part of life and a part of you, a part of us. All of this is sacred. All of it is sacred. We've got to slow down and open our hearts. Slow down, slow down, slow down. And know what it is that fuels you. Because that thing that fuels you is inexhaustible. Omnipotent. Which means that no matter how hard it gets, you have what it takes. No matter how glorious it is, there is more. There's more joy, more love. And it's all there for you. All there for you. Man, life, it should take your breath away in more moments than not. And if it's not, you're not paying attention. Because beauty is everywhere. Everywhere. Beauty is everywhere. And you are that beauty. You are that beauty. You are that beauty. So let's take this in a meditation. Just breathe. And in this moment, in your heart of hearts, I want you to say to yourself, I am that beauty. I am the divine manifestation of the ideal beauty. And the more beauty that you feel, that is you. The more beauty that you recognize as you, the more you will see beauty show up in your world. Everywhere you go, and everyone you meet. You will find more beauty in everything that happens. Your heart will be overflowing with gladness and gratitude because you feel like the luckiest being on the planet. And in the moment when you think, how could it get any better? It gets better. In the moment when you think you can't go on, there is more strength. Just breathe and know who you are. Remind yourself who you are. Knowing yourself as the Anam Cara and everything else in life as the Anam Cara. You are a soft place to fall, and everyone you meet is a soft place to fall. That you give love and receive love infinitely. That you are the magnificence that is God. And God is the magnificence that is all of us. I want you to breathe in beauty and exhale beauty and holiness. Breathe it in, breathe it out. The sacredness of life. Breathe it through every cell of your body. Every hair on your head. All the way down to the tips of your toes. This physical manifestation of magnificence. And so we let go of all limiting thoughts right here, right now. The last thing you kicked yourself for. The last thing you scolded yourself for. The last instance in which you played small. All of that is done. And resolve now in this moment to greet each day with wonder and curiosity, gratitude, in praise of the beauty of each day, each moment, each gift that overflows into your life. And know yourself as this gift. Just breathe and relax. There's nothing for you to do. Nothing for you to earn, nothing for you to produce, nothing for you to study. There's no book to read that can give it to you because you already have it. You already are it. Goodness and light. Goodness and light. So we say yes and thank you for life. life in each new day. We give thanks for the soul friend that is nature, that is God, that is every being upon this earth, that is every tree, every plant, every flower. We give thanks for every creature upon this earth. We give thanks for the stars in the sky, for the planets, all the heavenly bodies. We give thanks for this incomparable thing called life. And we give thanks for our lives and all the possibilities, the infinite possibilities that are at our fingertips. We just have to call them in, claim them, give thanks for them, and wait for them to roll into our lives in physical manifestation. So let's breathe in. Exhale. Inhale again. Breathe in, beauty and light and love. Exhale that beauty, light, and love out into the world, for it is infinite. Infinite. It is infinite. And you can find this peace, this moment of peace and beauty and love whenever you care to, whenever you need to. Any moment of any day. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen.